Good evening, everybody. It's truly an honor to be here today to have a chance to talk to you. Heroin, opiates, addiction, it's a problem that's exploding throughout the city. And I'll give you real quick why I thought it was so important for me to be here tonight when I was asked, and I was happy to do so. A couple years back, I lost my childhood friend to a heroin overdose, and when I spoke to his mom at the wake, I'll never forget what she told me. She says, "You could have helped him. You could have prevented this. You weren't part of his life anymore." We grew apart as kids do, over time. I went to the police department. He took his track in life. But it always struck home with me from that point on. As a young narcotics detective in the city, I'm always driven by why. I always want to know the why. It's what drives me forward in what I do as a commanding officer, as a police officer, as a detective. And when I came across heroin addicts, when we arrested them, which we often did when I was in narcotics many years ago, and it's made a resurgence as of late, I would ask them why, and they would give me the same answer. It didn't start off like this. I started with marijuana. It took me to maybe pills, and then I went to heroin, and now I'm addicted, and I can't get out of the lifestyle. From my end, I got to see the human side of it. I got to see the faces of it. It wasn't just a drug addict. It wasn't just a junkie. It was a person that I got to know in the van for those few moments or maybe those hours we were together during the arrest processing. So it's always struck home with me, knowing the why. And I always dug deeper into what got them to where they were. Very recently, and this is what scares me, and I think it's got to change. It's got to change bigger than the police department and bigger than the people in this room, but it starts with us. My 13-year-old daughter went in for oral surgery. Nothing crazy. And they gave her oxycodone. I was not happy with that. I said, "Doc, does she need this?" And he's like, "Well, just in case." I didn't fill out a prescription. I know now that that's the start of it. Once you're addicted, you're addicted. I had a family member in my own house when they heard that I complained, said, "Oh, save that in case I need it for later." So if that doesn't give you any sense of how far this goes. So if those pills are laying around your house, you have them, get rid of them. If you don't need them, don't take them. Leave them away from your kids. My daughter was just fine with Motrin. She got through it. She made it. On the police department end, this is an epidemic. It's a citywide epidemic. It touches every single community across the board. A sergeant of mine, she was recently assigned, a former sergeant of mine, was recently assigned to the overdose squad. All right? Every borough now has an overdose squad. What they do is, when there's an overdose, they get assigned to investigate it. Some of the important things, and one of her first cases was a young Jewish man. She got it well afterwards, after this started, and by law, he was buried within the day, and everything that was done according to that. But when she went back, they found it was fentanyl, and they found that there was a large trail of other people had died, which made this a crime. What I ask, and this is imperative for everyone in this room, if you come across that, please leave the crime scene. We need the cell phone. There's no shame in it. What we need to do is get the bad guy. We need to get the dealer. And one of the most important things we need to get the dealer with these detectives that are going to be doing this is we're going to backtrack. We're going to do cell phone. It's going to be relentless to go back to the dealer, because if there's one bad batch of heroin out there, and if one person overdosed, there's 30 more people that are going to overdose off this drug. So we need to keep the crime scene pristine. We need to get cell phone. We need to backtrack where the dealer came from, and that's how we're going to solve it. If you think that there's a drug dealer in your building or anywhere in the area, call 911, and I'm going to tell you what this is going to do. It's going to do two things, especially if you say you think that they're selling drugs. The first thing it's going to do is going to get a response from the precinct immediately. The second thing it's going to do is going to have a complaint that goes right to the narcotics division, and that opens a case where now they're going to start investigating that location. Now, as a former narcotics detective, I ask a very simple thing. I know everyone wants to stay anonymous, and we'll keep you anonymous, but leave a phone number for us so we can call back and you can give us more details. I always found that it was, for me, when I investigated a narcotics complaint and there was someone I can call back, we never used them in court, but to get the additional information of what was going on in the building, on the corner, in the area, was tremendous. So if you do see something going on, you're aware of something going on, leave your number, please, and let us get back to you. And this way, when the time comes, we're not going to ask you to testify. We're not going to put you in danger. We're not going to put you anywhere. But we need to have that information. It'll give the detective more of a base to go from. So with that being said, I'll be here to take some questions, and thank you very much.